So we are here at the FinTech North 2018, the Leeds event, and I'm here with Chris Sier, one of the, I think it's fair to say, leading lights of the FinTech scene in the North here. How are you finding it, Chris?
It's fantastic. I mean, it's evolved year on year, the conference. I mean, I'm seeing the infrastructure in the region grow, but actually this is a fundamental part of the infrastructure. Communication and outreach is very important, and a block event, a large event like this is great for capturing people who otherwise might not understand or realise what's going on. It's fantastic. It's evolved much in the way that your top knot has evolved over the 3 years that you've been interviewing. It's becoming altogether more sexy.
I've been aiming to sort of parallel the development of the conference.
That, yeah.
I like to give a visual cue for the audience so they can keep up.
Indeed, you're becoming more interesting as time goes on.
Going to be to notice. Thank you. I mean, how's your role in it changed? Are you finding that you're presenting much more this year?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I've always chaired it. But I think there is an acceptance that an ability to understand or have knowledge about all of the topics gives you an ability to be able to coordinate the discussion. I think people realise that after 10 years I know quite a lot about what's going on, and they kind of accept my role as being able to ask probing questions, mostly in a respectful way. I can get the most out of the audience, but I know Whitecap Consulting very well, and obviously the other owners now of FinTech North, which would be Dan from the Rebuilding Society and a couple of others. So there's a trust building there, which is very good.
How are you finding the kind of demographic shifting? I feel like there's a more international representation now than
it's international, more diverse. That's a reflection, I think, of the building of the community. I mean, this is a forum where the community is coming together to talk about issues that face them, interesting topics to learn, to knowledge share, and now there is a much broader and wider, deeper, richer community, diverse both in terms of international perspective, but also gender, race, location, and also model. So there are more interesting companies doing more interesting things from more interesting destinations, and they're domiciled here. So the audience reflects that.
What's catching your eye? What's interested you most to hear people talk
actually,
about?
it's the attention that I've managed to draw away from the, if you like, the singularity, the black hole that is London. It's very difficult to get people to talk about fintech in any other context than London. And the conversation has switched dramatically in the past 12 months. I mean, obviously the Treasury has launched a broader approach with more FinTech Envoys to join me in the role that I've been running now for a couple of years, and that's great. But getting TISA up here, the Tax Incentivised Savings Association, who want to launch a regional forum, fantastic. Getting Innovate UK to step out of their home ground of London, and indeed their home ground of any major financial city in Europe, except for regional ones within the UK. Getting them to come to Leeds has been an interesting thing. You have the FCA, obviously, who are a London organisation. That's where they're headquartered. They have probably been the most progressive of the traditional infrastructure in the fact that they've been coming here for 2 years now, but they've expanded their team. So that, to me, listening to what people are talking about who've come from outside of London, getting them here and seeing the realisation in their face that there is something vibrant and exciting here, that's kind of cool, frankly.
There's a change in the air, isn't there? We spoke to Anna Wallace this morning, and she was saying that her team has expanded from 5 people 3 years ago to 30 now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's just astonishing.
Well, I mean, so she works as part of the Competitions and Markets Group at the FCA, and they see, obviously, innovation as a competitive issue. They want to make sure that we don't have monopolies and oligopolies in the UK, and the way to ensure that doesn't occur is to encourage new entrants to the market. And that's new entrants doing traditional things in traditional ways, but it's also new entrants doing traditional things in new ways, and new entrants doing new things in traditional or new ways. There's all kinds of flavours, but it's about making sure there's diversity, and that is a competition issue. So it sits within competition and markets, which is a really interesting place, frankly.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking to Oliver Guider earlier, he was saying that he finds it interesting to see on some levels the things that are being achieved here, the kind of the networking and the outreach and the connections that are being made. But also he said he feels from a sort of more European perspective there are a few blind spots. Kind of that he was surprised aren't being talked about? Are those
Here in Leeds, you mean?
in Leeds at
the
this
North,
event,
yeah.
just to see that, you know, for a relative outsider to be immersed in the culture here, I think for a day, and to see, well, people don't seem to be talking about some of the things that he feels are relevant.
What kind of things would you
You'd have to ask Oliver, I think, to go over the things.
It's interesting. We've only got a day to get through quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
And we're still very much in the building the network phase, I think, rather than dealing with detailed topics. But you know, if we want to start looking at detailed industry issues, that's when you're going to start looking at seminars run by the university. So Leeds University is building this FinTech hub. Based at Nexus, and you know, they're going to be talking to people, they're going to be talking to the market about issues like AI, machine learning, distributed ledger technology, big data analytics, a whole range of things, which will help people understand the technical aspects.
Yes.
And these are things where there are mature conversations in other parts of the world, or indeed in London, but actually getting the university to sort of front up and say, well, actually we're bloody good at this, so we can talk about it is important. The piece that I still see that is actually missing is this community. So we have this as an event, which is a big event, and it's great, and we've had 17 events of varying sizes through FinTech North since 2016. The university is now starting to launch some events, and Leeds Beckett is doing events. That's great. What we don't know, actually, is what's out there. We don't have this structured approach. And the good news is the council, as I understand it, is going to work with Whitecap Consulting to go and do that landscaping analysis. That brings the community in. I mean, community curation is a pretty specialized skill. It's not just about getting people to sign up to something. It's not just about getting people to come to events like this. It's about education. It's about helping people find partners, business partners, finding funders, finding clients. And that all exists within a kind of a vibrant network. It requires curation. Curation is expensive. You've got to find the business model which makes the curation work. And so it's great that the first step is going to be managed by the council with Whitecap Consulting. Let's understand what the landscape is. But beyond that, the responsibility has to be, how do we make this, this network, this family that we have here of both providers, entrepreneurs, academics, policymakers, but also other suppliers, clients. How do we get them to work together to make this thing a sort of a unit that's operating professionally, functionally, and produces a lot of productivity for the environment? That is a skill. That's something that needs to be thought about. I think the university has a very important role to play here because of Nexus. You know, it's a 100,000 square feet building across 4 or 5 floors, which is going to be dedicated to bringing all of those elements together, but it doesn't launch until Q4 this year. So we have this hiatus, and we can use that currently to fill it with events like this, but also some analysis. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to what comes out of the work with Council and Whitecap. So. Right.
And finally, what are you looking forward to seeing in the rest of the day?
I don't know. I mean, there's some people I haven't met. So I know most people now, and most people know me. But it's great. People come out of the woodwork and say, we're interested in doing this. Having the role of chairing the conference is nice, because it's quite obvious people get to see your face, and then people come and ask you, well, have you heard about us? We have already had one company contact me on LinkedIn and say, we're doing some kind of credit scoring or innovation, can we talk to you? And my answer is great, yes. But you've got the FCA here as well. Go and talk to them. Another company has reached out just now, actually, so I've had 2, which is looking at robo-advisory. And actually Anna Wallace today spoke about the role of robo-advisory and how the regulator is working in this space to ensure that the advice is fit and appropriate and not detrimental to customers and so on. And again, my response was, yeah, I want to meet you. I want to see what you do. But for goodness sakes, talk to the AI group here. You've got IMC and the university, and talk to Anna Wallace and her team from the FCA, because you're going to get more expertise from those guys, and you're going to get regulatory advice from those guys. Use the opportunity. And that's what I like, is this connections.
I think it's getting better every year in terms
Absolutely.
of size and
perfect.
Anyway,
Thank
you very much for your time, Chris.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.